Happy Tuesday, everybody. This is Andy, the prop chef here at Two Perspective Studio. Thanks for joining me today for another edition of Try It Tuesday, where we come together and try it on a Tuesday. Happy Veterans Day to everybody. If you're a veteran, we salute you for sure. Thank you for your service, everything that you've done for the country. Whether you're active military, have a husband or a wife in the military, it's a tough job. So today is the day that we definitely salute you. Actually, every day we should salute you. So I hope everybody's doing good and halfway staying warm. I know it's cold here in South Carolina. Believe it or not, it is never cold here. We had snow flurries for about an hour last night. I was absolutely thrilled. I was taking video of a few little flakes flying. We haven't seen snow here in I don't know how long, probably like 7 years since we've had any kind of measurable snowfall or anything like that here. So it was really nice. The wind was blowing. The wind is still blowing, but I was able to actually sit out on the deck even though it's in the 40s. I don't care. I love the cold weather. So it's good with me. But yeah, it's clear blue Carolina sky today, but it is chilly. I guess it's chilly all the way down in Florida. Hi Margarita, how are you? So I'm going to be doing some different stuff. I mean, I kind of always do weird and different things. It's just what I do here. I have a weird job. The fake food thing is definitely an odd job. You don't find too many people that say, I make my living making fake food. It's so weird. But I've actually been studying on some different things and experimenting with a few different things. So I'm going to be showing, probably now until around Christmas time, I'm going to be showing different techniques that I've been learning and different methods of doing things. I'm going to be switching from some resin to some gel wax and cream waxes. Hi Jamie and Peggy, how are you? Going to be doing lots of different things. I'm going to be doing pedophores and candies using some different methods. Experimenting with some pour-overs, like where you can make a shell over something that you've done and make it look realistic, like a pedophore. Or, chocolates, that you have a filling in the inside. So we're going to be doing some things like that where you can actually display the candies in different ways, and then you'll be able to split one open and see a filling in it, like a chocolate covered cherry, for instance, things like that, with a gooey center. So it's going to be a little interesting showing you things. I experimented quite a bit with a lot of it, so I'm excited to share what I've been learning with you guys. I did sort of a first attempt, sort of a goofy project yesterday, and I want to show you that today, but it's pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool anyway. When I get something that's really neat and it's a different technique, it amuses me so much. It's just like, wow, that was so cool, I need to share it with somebody. So this one actually fooled JR. I showed him a picture of it last night and he thought it was he actually thought it was real. So, and that excites me more than anything, when somebody really thinks that it's real and they can't say, oh yeah, well, it's good, but I could tell that it was fake. That drives me crazy. I like, really getting it on there and making it look real. So this baked potato, I showed this to him, and I actually showed him a picture, but he thought it was like, I have a daughter who's crazy about carbs. Baked potatoes and macaroni and cheese are like her two favorite food groups, and she will mix them together as much as she can. But she absolutely loves baked potatoes, and I was excited to find a way to make this to where it actually looked pretty realistic. And the techniques that I used, even for the melted butter, were not anything that I had actually done before. Normally I would do this in a resin. This is not resin, and I think it's every bit, I wish I could get you even closer to the camera and have it focus, which it doesn't like to do very often, but it's every bit as nice as resin. A lot of you know I have an allergy to resin. It drives me crazy when I have to use it sometimes. Makes me cough, after I've used it, because when you're on camera, you don't want to strap on the giant gas mask on there, when you're live, because nobody can hear you talk. Hi, Cece. And I wear the protectors on my arms and things, but still, I can't help but get it on me, and then I get like a poison ivy rash, and it drives me nuts. So JR does most of the resin stuff here. He doesn't have an allergy to it. It doesn't bother him. So he has his own resin area where he does the drinks and things like that. But during the week when I'm making pies and I'm making, different things that I have to use resin for, I have to just grin and bear it and do it myself. So whenever I can find an alternative to where I don't have to use it as much, I'm good with that. The silicone glues, I know this is a colored one, so it looks funny, but the silicone glues have been really good for me because I can use it in some of my sauces and coverings and things, so the silicone glue doesn't bother me. But what I did with the butter on the baked potato is something that I thought maybe it would work, but I never actually tried it. And I tried it yesterday, and now I'm in love with it. So for small things like this, or like pancake syrup or stuff like that, I'm pretty sure I can do this technique. So don't run out and get rid of your resin. That's not what I'm saying. I use resin a ton. That's not what I'm saying. But this is just such a small area, and for what I did, it really worked. So I'm going to show you what I did for this potato, because I loved it. I made one yesterday and sort of let it, dry up. This is sort of like, if you were splitting open the potato and mixing it up and stuffing it back in there, like a twice baked potato kind of thing, like that. You know what I'm trying to say. So I made this little, kind of looks like a little canoe, I guess, but it's the potato shape, basically. And that's all, that's all you had to do. It's not difficult to make. I don't care that it has a lot of cracks in it. It even has cracks on the bottom. I don't care about that. I didn't, when I did this yesterday, it was cold and I was tired. I'm not gonna lie. It had been a long day yesterday by the time I did this. But I didn't go through the whole process of conditioning my Model Magic all the way through, and you really need to. I did this little batch earlier, so I know it's pretty well conditioned. I'm just going to warm it up a little, because it is pretty cold here today. It's only in the 40s on the surface of the sun in which I live. But boy, the cold weather feels great to me. It is always, we've had such a hot summer here. I think we had over 30 days of very high 90s and into the hundreds, and it was kind of crazy here. That's too hot for me to be able to enjoy the outdoors. I don't like it when it's that hot and humid. Even my dog didn't want to go out. So I'm loving this nice cool weather. I hope it hangs around for a good long time. So I'm just going to make sure that this is conditioned pretty decently. Like I said, the cracks in this are not going to matter with this new technique that I have learned about. And it involves brown paper napkins. Like you can get these in restrooms. Not that I'm telling you to raid the bathroom anywhere you go, but you know the hand towels that you get when you go in a public restroom, sometimes they have those brown paper ones. These are actually napkins from the Jersey Mike's sub shop. We had subs the other night for dinner, and they gave us these napkins. And I was like, oh, I needed some of those. I actually had some in my Amazon cart because I haven't been anywhere lately to get any kind of brown napkin. But I had learned in one of my groups that the brown paper napkin can be utilized to make coatings on things. And one of the things was the baked potato. There are different things you can use it for as well, but this was the one that I focused on because it hit me right away. Like, oh, baked potato, that's awesome. Hey, Jerry and Donna. So I'm going to roll this out. I'll show you how I did the shape. I don't use a ton of molds when I'm doing things. I do for some stuff, like pecans, for example. I made a pecan mold. I do use it anytime I have to do pecans, just because they are hugely cumbersome to do one after the other with a needle tool, which you can do. You don't have to have a mold. But stuff that is quicker to do with a mold, I usually use a mold. But more often than not, I will hand shape things. I guess I prefer doing it that way. So, you know, I typically start anything with the ball and I squeeze as much air out of it as I can. That's kind of my go-to for whenever I start a clay project. Or I use the desk. So, to make your little baked potato canoe here, whatever you want to call it, I want to make it so that there's a space in here so that I can put some filling. I used the lightweight spackle for the potato filling, and I just colored it a little bit. So I sort of want this, you know, divoted out area. So all I'm going to do is take my ball and start to elongate it, and just sort of grabbing it and gently pulling it, it'll start to shape it. And then just using the palms of your hands so that you don't get too many marks in it, you just start to shape it. Now your bottom is going to go flat, and that's perfect because that can be the area that you're going to sort of scoop out, divot out. So once you get it to about normal potato length, I guess I should say. Now if you go somewhere like some of the steakhouses and stuff, they have those ginormous, which I don't even know where you get them, but they're like this long and about that big around, those ginormous potatoes. I'm not doing that here. But you know, this whole project would be great if you wanted to make like a realistic fake potato bar and have, you could use the fake meat and have like a chili in the front. You could have shredded cheese topping. You could have all different kinds of like the sour cream and all that. You could set up a bunch of these and make a really neat, realistic fake potato bar, which I think is what I'm going to do with all this. Either that or I'm going to use this as a side on something else. I haven't really decided yet, but once my brain gets an idea, it kind of just, woo, it starts going. So I'll figure that out later. So you want to just sort of shape your edges on there to where it's like potato shape. So when you flip it over, this can be your area that you're going to hollow out, or just sort of, not really hollow out, you're going to just sort of squish all this down. And I just did it sort of gently with my fingers. I don't want to do it too harshly because I want to maintain the shape that I just made on the top there. But I do want this, and I mean, you could scrape some of this out if you wanted to, but I just want to, and I want to bring up the sides a little bit, sort of angle them up like a potato, like you cut into a potato. Or this could even look like a half a potato that you just divoted out. Hi Dee, hi Marie, hi Heidi. Oh, I'm missing all kinds of people. Hi Deneen. Thanks everybody for joining today. Trying a new technique, which is always exciting for me. Like I said, I'm kind of weird about these things. I get excited over I get excited over these things. Alright, so there I have another little sort of like a potato canoe sort of thing that we can use. So I have this one that I did yesterday that's pretty dry. It's probably best that I set this one aside and let this one dry before I mess with it. So I'm just going to put him up here. But I just wanted to show you basically overall how you would do that. And when I do these, yes, it is Model Magic. When I do these, I will leave them top side up for a while, and then I'll flip them over and do the bottom, or I'll go and set them on a rack and I'll just let the whole thing dry. The only thing with my racks is it'll leave, if my clay is soft like it is now, if I don't let it harden up a little bit, I'll get those rack indentations on it. So sometimes I don't go to the rack. But this one is pretty hard. It's been drying overnight. So we have our sandwich shop napkins. They come, you know, I chopped off the part with their logo on it, and then it had some printing on the other side. So that has been chopped off. But they come just folded. They're just one ply crapper napkins, really. I mean, I'm not even sure why they give you these things, because they're really not useful for, especially if you have a nice big sub with tomato and lettuce and all the yummies on it, and you go and bite into this thing, stuff is going to fall everywhere. You're going to get stuff running on your face. This doesn't do it. I mean, this does nothing. So, I mean, it just is what it is. But they're one ply napkins, which is what you need for any decoupage project. And yes, we're going to decoupage our baked potato. And you can use Mod Podge for this. I have some of this decorator's varnish that I have been using for all of my Mod Podge purposes since I found this stuff. I like it a lot better than Mod Podge. But you can definitely still use Mod Podge. I've used Mod Podge for years. It's just been in the last about year and a half that I switched to this, because I found out how much nicer it is to work with. And it works on, come off of there, works on fabrics, it works on, you know, just about anything. So basically, instead of painting this, which baked potatoes have lots of texture, and it has that, you know, funky, the skin of a baked potato. You know, when you feel the potato before you bake it, it's really smooth, and then once you bake it, the potato part gets mushy, so the outer layer gets all those wrinkles in it. So that's what really comes out nicely when you're using these brown napkins. And I did find out that you can buy, like, I think they're 200 packs, which I know it's a lot, but there are 200 packs of these crapper brown napkins. Amazon does actually sell these things. So you can buy them, or the next time you're out somewhere at a sporting event or at your kid's school, sometimes they will have these, the hand towels, you know, after you wash your hands, you pull that brown scratchy paper thing. Stick a couple in your purse and take them home. I mean, you know, it is what it is. So you can get these for free, or if you go out to dinner at a place that has these napkins. I know Jersey Mike's does because that's where I got these. Not that I'm promoting anybody's restaurant or anything, but I'm just saying, you find these things all over. So you don't even have to spend money on it. And I'm not worried at all about, like I have a big crack right there. I'm not worried at all about that for this particular project. Like I said, because there's so much weird texture that comes out in a potato. I've actually tried to make baked potatoes before, but I was unsuccessful in making them very realistic. But now I've found the trick. And I'm not going to do the inside. I'm just going to go right where I'm going to sort of try and do half of this at a time. So I'm going to put that over there. So I'm just going to lay it lengthwise because it sort of fits. And I'm going to, let's see. Yeah, I want to get it up to where it's just going around the corner in there. And I'm not going to worry about wrinkles like we always do when we're trying to get a napkin on something. It's like, oh my gosh, we've got wrinkles in our napkin. And you know how frustrating that is. But for this, the more wrinkles the better because it looks more like a real potato. I don't know, Margarita. Should I make a baked potato kit? I don't think there would be a whole lot in it other than some clay and a brown napkin. I may, if I get one of the big packs of the brown napkins, I could always put them up on my Wednesday sale if anybody wanted a few brown napkins to make some potatoes. I could do that. Because I have that 250 pack in my Amazon cart now. Because I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a baked potato bar out of this. And just have I have these long trays that I build on sometimes. And I think that would be a pretty neat item. So, let's see. I'm going to have to chop this off a little bit. I'm not being like ultra particular about this, and I may do a little piecework to get it on there later, and that's okay. Like I said, folding it and making it wrinkly, I think I'm going to take a piece and put it over here in this space because it makes it look more realistic to have those funky layers. So I'm just going to put layer 1 on first, and then I'll go from there. Now, I needed to put some more on my clay here. I'm not decoupaging correctly, I know. One of the kits that I am releasing, I'm not sure if it'll be next week or possibly I may do it for Black Friday because I'm going to be having a big sale Black Friday, and I may release the new cookie kit, which is something else that excited to show you some new techniques with the cookie kit. I should have some parchment paper down for this. Let me grab that. I also have something exciting I'm going to be showing in the next week or so, is a new way of doing some salt dough. And I learned this from 2 ladies who are prop masters in a couple of colleges. And they have a really neat way of doing the salt dough, which makes it less sticky and less cracky. So if you have done salt dough and you've had any cracking with your results, this will probably solve your problem. And it's a pretty cool technique, and like I said, I'm going to be showing that. I'm actually live 3 times this week and probably at least twice next week. So I have a lot of new stuff to be showing. I don't usually do that many lives. It's hard for me with my schedule just because I have so many, especially now with all of the holiday orders coming in. It's hard to get the time to do the lives, but I'm gonna really push myself and try and get it done so that I can show you lots of neat things. So I've gone over this twice on the visible area. I'm not going to worry about the bottom as much. You can see where I've done 2 coats on the sides and just the 1 on the bottom. Now you can definitely do, you know, as much or as little as you want as far as layering goes. I think the more paper layers you put on here, you'll get darker and darker areas, which is pretty common for baked potato. So probably the more you do it, the more realistic it's going to look. So put a little more over here. I know this is a very odd craft. Everybody else comes on, they do these beautiful, beautiful things and cutesy stuff, and I come on and I make a baked potato. I have a whole turkey dinner sitting over there right now, getting ready to go out today. Well, it'll go out tomorrow. It has to be packed today to go out tomorrow. And I have another turkey right here that has to be finished to go out. So yeah, I did a whole video yesterday. I set up my table with all the Thanksgiving yummies, and I put out my turkey and my deviled eggs and my Jell-O and all that good stuff, and took a video. So I'll be putting that up soon. So I think that's probably all the layers that I'm going to do on this guy. Like I said, I'm not going to worry about the bottom because it's not going to show. A bit of this. And if you're interested in this, if you do a lot of decoupage and you haven't tried this decorator's varnish, you should really give it a whirl. It really goes a long way, a lot longer than Mod Podge does. I feel like you use a lot of Mod Podge in decoupage, but I've been working on this little jar for over a year. It's probably close to a year and a half now since I got it, but I really like it. Yeah, clean some of this off my hand here. You love my cooking? I've been cooking almost every day of the week. We've been ordering out once a week now, and I cook every other night of the week, which after being a caterer for more than 2 decades, that's the last thing I want to do is cook food now. I don't even like cooking, but I'm trying to force myself to get back into it and cook, and JR is just loving it. He comes home from work at night and he has that home cooked meal. I'm trying to do the time management thing to where I start very early in the morning and I quit very late at night. You can see the luggage under my eyes formulating. I wish my husband did all the cooking, Marie. JR does know how to cook, but he doesn't. He doesn't cook anymore. Okay, so I have this part done. Now I would say let this dry. Don't go on until it's dry. I've ripped my parchment. But I'm going to go on because I'm live and it is what it is. So the next thing I need is some potato filling, which, I mean, y'all know it's lightweight spackle. But lightweight spackle is white, very white. Potato is not white. Let's see, I had, where it is. Let's see, I had a bowl somewhere. Light potato filling is off white. It's almost brownish white, I guess. I have a color, and I'm not sure who makes it. Now you don't need a ton of this. All you need is just enough to make a nice raised, twice baked look here. So I just have a little bit of spackle, and I'm going to get that mushed around, just get some of the air out of it. I have a color. It's by Master's Touch, which is a Hobby Lobby thing. It's fairly similar to Antique White, which is the apple barrel. I think Antique White is the apple barrel one, right? The craft paint. This is just a regular acrylic, but it's called Milky White. You don't have to use a lot, just a very, very little. Same thing goes if you're using the Antique White. Just put a little bit in there because you don't want to make it like a really weird color. You want it natural potato color. So I'm going to mix that in. And all that did was just barely tint this. I don't even know if you can tell that there's a difference on camera, but there is a very slight, I guess when I tilt it down you can kind of see there's a little slight, just a tint. So then potatoes are not smooth like icing. So after I have squished this and smushed this and worked all that paint into it, it looks more like icing than potato filling. So I'm going to have to use my craft stick, popsicle stick, and sort of zhuzh this up a little bit to where it's more wrinkly, and not really wrinkly, I don't know what to call it, coarse looking, I guess. Not smooth like an icing. First thing I'm going to do is get a little glue in here, because I don't want my spackle to dry and then lift right out, which I've actually had happen on a couple of projects. And I didn't realize, whenever you're using foam clay, if you put wet spackle on foam clay and the foam clay is wet, it'll stick and it's just fine. It never comes back off. If you're using Model Magic, whether it's wet or it's dry, if you add spackle on the top of it, the spackle will lift right off when this clay is dry. Or even, if it started wet, doesn't matter. It'll lift right off. So always remember to put some glue on there if you're adding spackle onto your Model Magic. Hey AAA. So I'm just going to manipulate this, and I'm going to do it gently because I want that the potato look. I don't want it to look like icing. I want it to look like a twice baked potato. That's had And if you wanted to make this look like it was full of cheese, which, like I said, if I do the potato bar, I'll do all kinds of things. I'll do chili and cheese and all different things, and then I'll have some of the potatoes pre-done on there, and then some bowls of filling to make it look like a potato bar. But you just want to sort of tap on it, I guess, to make it look more like potato, less like icing. And you can make it as full or as not full. I mean, the appearance is definitely up to you. I probably needed a little glue on the side there, but I think I'll be all right. If not, I'll find out later. And then I'm going to make just a little bit. I just want a little bit of an indentation right in the middle, so that I can put some of this butter on here as well. So let's see. I'll pick it up. So that's kind of what I've got now. I think I might make it just a little bit chunkier since I have a little bit extra. We'll make this an extra chunky potato. Especially on the ends, because I want the, that might have been a little too much. I want the middle to look like there's some melting butter down in there. And that will sort of depress the potato filling down in there. If that makes sense. So I'll probably do it more like that. And keep my edges a little higher than the midsection. Got it right here. So usually for my butter, I use foam clay. I have some of Marie's Great Creations clay here. This is light yellow. And it's a little bit, maybe a pinch darker than normal butter, but it's not terrible. You can always add a little bit of white and make it a little lighter if you want. I'm just going to use maybe a 1/2 inch little ball of this. That's sealed up. Okay, so I'm just going to roll that into a little ball, and then I'm going to just take it and squish it until it's about like a little melting pat of butter size, I guess. You could make it a little chunkier. And then I'm just going to take it like this and put the other fingers like this and flatten each side like so. So it makes a square, sort of a rounded square. I don't know how to say it. Sort of like that, and then I keep it about that thick. So it's maybe a 1/4 inch thick total, and then maybe 1 inch by 1 inch. You can make it whatever size you want. You could layer two, one on each. You could layer one sort of diagonally on the other and have a double pat on there. I do that on my pancakes sometimes. Either way you want it. So I'm just going to lay that sort of diagonally down in the middle, sort of like it was melting down in that potato fluff. Then, another neat thing, I have a little cup here and a little silicone spatula. You can use a popsicle stick or whatever. This is just clear Elmer's glue. Any kind of clear craft glue I think would work just as well. Just going to put a little bit of that I need a paper towel. Just a little bit. Let's see if I can get this one-handed without making a mess here. I'm trying to get a paper towel. There we go. I find if I don't wipe my glue off, even when I'm live, if I don't wipe my glue off correctly, I can't ever get it back open again later. So I've been trying to make it a point to always wipe my bottles off. So there's a lot of things you can do from here. You can tint this with an alcohol ink, which is what I'm going to do. You can also use a food coloring. The only thing with the food coloring is this is such a tiny amount of glue. I mean, that is just, it's maybe a teaspoon. So it's not a lot. So if you're using food coloring, you're going to have to take a toothpick and just very, very slightly use that end of a toothpick just to pick up a pinch of that yellow pigment to get in there, or you'll get too dark. The alcohol ink worked just fine for this one. I was happy with the outcome. This is one called Dandelion. I know you can use a lemon yellow. It's a little more neon, but I think it would work just fine. All I did was just sort of gently stir this back and forth, and it colored that glue but left it translucent. I know you're not going to be able to see this, but I'm going to try and show you anyway. See how translucent that is? Just like you melted butter, you know, under a candle or in a microwave or whatever. It looks just like the melted, looks like clarified butter, I guess I should say. And I didn't really know that you could do this with the glue. I typically will make up a half ounce of resin when I'm doing things like this, and I'll let the resin sit and thicken for 30 or 40 minutes until it's super thick and I know it's not going to continue running off my item. And that's what I've used for pancake syrup and butters and gravies, all different sorts of things. I've always used the resin, but I've never really tried the clear glue like this. It doesn't have many bubbles in it, and that's pretty exciting. Whereas if you're trying the silicone glue, a lot of times you'll get bubbles in your final product, especially if you use alcohol ink in the silicone glue. Gel food coloring seems to like it a little better than the alcohol ink, but the alcohol ink, unless, and that's why I have a ton of bottles here that are all colored, because I will put the pigments, whatever pigment I'm using, I'll put it in the bottle and I'll just color the entire bottle and I'll leave it sit, and that allows time for all those bubbles to dissipate, and then I just clip off the top and I use it however I want to use it. But if you're just using it quickly, sometimes you can really fight the air bubbles in the silicone glue. So I totally enjoyed using this instead. So it's very thick. I did make sure that the first thing that I did was to cover this entire little pat of clay, my little butter clay. And I want to cover it the whole way around so that it really does look like it's melting. Because if there's not a puddle on the top, it's not going to look like it's melting. And then I took some extra and I just went sort of right around it and pooled it up in a couple of little places. Just to make it look like it was kind of going somewhere. Like that potato was hot enough to start melting this butter. It's all about the illusion in this industry, this wacky industry that I'm in. It's all about the illusion. Just what your eye is trained to see naturally. It doesn't matter if it's not all there, it has a fake bottom or whatever. It's just what your eye thinks it's looking at. So I've got some black pepper. I use real black pepper for my black pepper. You can use, if you're allergic to black pepper or you're not comfortable using it or anything like that, there are some very tiny charcoal granules, very, very powdery minced, that you can sub out for black pepper. But it really, black pepper does not harm any of your realistic fake foods. You can use it. You can pretty much use any dry spice that's on the market, because these have been irradiated, which means they were hit by a radiation machine to help dry them and purify and make sure that there was no living bugs in there. This is some dried parsley. You can also use reindeer moss if you're not comfortable using regular spices. But like I said, these have been irradiated. A lot of the meat that you eat these days is irradiated now as well, to kill bacterias and organisms and things like that. No, it's not good for you, but it's what they do. So I put a little parsley and I put a little pepper on our potato. And there she is. And you see how those wrinkles and the overlapping of the papers make those colors really pop out in the potato skin, your fake potato skin, but it makes it look even that much more realistic. Now, I know my light is a little bright, so my filling doesn't look potatoey. It looks more white on the camera, but it really is an off-white potatoey color. So that is your new technique for the day, using brown napkin. No paint required. I mean, this is an easy peasy little project here. All you do is shape your clay and let it dry and add a little glue and spackle, and that's it. So like I said, if you wanted to make a side dish, like if you wanted to put a piece of meat with this, you could do meat, you could do a potato bar, all different sorts of things. But it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and it hardens really well. I did this one yesterday at like 3 o'clock, and it's pretty hard just for overnight and everything. So I encourage you, if you're a realistic fake food maker, find some brown napkins and a little decoupage glue and see how many different baked potato varieties you can make and what you can pair it with. But I think it's a pretty interesting technique, and I enjoyed learning about it, so I hope you did too. I know I'm like 10 minutes early, which I've been early on my lives a lot lately. I need to get better with my time. But Marie and Nicole are going to be up at 3 o'clock, so it'll give you time to go get a snack or go skip to the loo, whatever you need to do. So, Jamie, I know you're going to be one to try this, aren't you? I know you're into the realistic fake foods like this. I can see you trying this pretty soon. And I hope you do. I hope you send me a picture. Yeah, so like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the new technique. I'm going to be showing lots more techniques. Coming up in the next few weeks, we're going to be learning about some gel wax and cream wax and different things to do with it. I'm going to show you a brand new cookie kit probably for Black Friday that's going to be on sale. Everything in PropChef is going to be on sale for Thanksgiving, Black Friday, that whole weekend. Everything will be on sale. We're also going to delve into some nachos that you'll be able to make in a either a platter, or you'll be able to do it as a wall hanging. Pretty cool. I'm not sure who likes nachos on their wall, but I probably would. I'm a nacho person. And I'm going to be doing some candies and candy bars and pedophores, so I have lots of things coming up in the next few weeks and that most of them are going to be all new techniques that you haven't seen before. So I'm going to be doing a lot of experimenting. So yeah, Jamie, if you want some of those napkins, I'm going to order that 250 pack off of Amazon. So I'll probably have a few available in the Wednesday sale. So you guys can let me know if you want some napkins. So let's pop over in about 8 more minutes and see Marie and Nicole and what they're going to be doing today. I hope everybody has a great rest of their Veterans Day, and I will see you again a couple more times this week. So this is Andy the Prop Chef saying, have a great day. Bye, everybody.